730 WTRE. It's 8:33. We've got the Decatur County Health Department in with us, Dr. McCullough with us, and Sean this morning. And life's just busy out there in flu world, isn't it?
For sure.
It is. We wanted to talk a little bit about the flu.
It's been pretty prevalent this year. But
Yeah.
You've got good news for us, right, Sean?
Well, sort of good. Yeah, good for the
Halfway good.
state. The state, we're seeing the rate decrease second week in a row. It's gone down. So we went from a high in the 5%. We're to a 3.92. It's the second week it's declined. Unfortunately, Decatur County is the third highest in the entire state at 6.6% flu activity. So, and that's a combination of influenza-like illnesses and actual diagnosed flu.
So do they have anything to account to that, or has it just been a germier season?
Well, I think a lot of it is this strain. I think Dr. McCullough can probably talk better about that than I can.
Well, each year they have to plan the flu shot for the following fall that'll be given out is planned in the spring based on patterns, and they try to predict what strain will go around because influenza A and B both have multiple strains, so they're having to pick out. They can't put all of them in one shot, so they're trying to predict. Well, in the meantime, strains change, and a new strain developed, and that one was not in the vaccine that was passed out. Now, you do get some cross protection where your flu shot does still protect you from that strain, but not as completely as normal. So that happened this year, and so as a result, it's been a bad year, and it's a bad illness when you get it. So thank goodness our numbers are starting to go down, but there are still cases happening along with COVID. So.
I think, too, preventing it, or just preventing the spread, just simply the classics, hand washing. And
yes. Wear a mask. If you are going into a cough or cold, like I'm getting over something right now, well, I've worn a mask, for the last 5 days. I've had a mask on, and just being courteous to others. You don't want to make them feel like you felt. Then you have to be careful washing your hands, realizing every doorknob you touch, if you just coughed on your hand and then touch the doorknob and then someone else comes along, they may pick that up. And there's other things they can pick up, not just COVID and flu, that you really don't want to pass on either. So just people trying to be careful about where they coughing into their arm or into their, get your jacket up and cough into that, using Kleenex, throwing them away, washing hands, wearing a mask if you're seeming to be going into something, and just kind of avoiding people if you really need to.
I think that's a big piece of it. If you're coming down with something, and especially if fever starts in, stay home.
Yes.
Stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And it's not too late for a flu shot, which will offer some protection. We're still seeing less hospitalizations and deaths on those who are immunized. We have had, unfortunately, 45 deaths in Indiana from this flu season, just 8 in the last week. So,
do we have other statistics yet on what age categories it's hitting most, or are we just broad spectrum?
Mostly, a lot of that is suppressed just because until the season is over, a lot of that's suppressed. Fortunately, we've had, I think, just one, I believe, child who died from the flu in Indiana. So that's, every death is tragic, but we hate to see those kids. So.
That's right. So.
In general, it's the older population, the older you are, or if you're immunocompromised on long-term steroids or certain lung issues, things like that. But a lot of time it's our older population, and you yourself may get through it just fine, but you may give it to grandma in the nursing home, and then that's a real issue. So.
And you see the remnants from it, so it's it's dehydration, it's malnutrition, all of those things that combine with just the symptoms of the flu.
That's true. So
stay clean, stay healthy, stay home. Don't
home.
go to Walmart. If you're sick, stay home.
That's right. And don't go to work.
Don't go to work.
Don't spread it around your work people.
Yeah, stay home. All right. You also want to talk about you had a meeting in Clarksburg. That's been a little while ago.
So yeah, we had a meeting. We've had a lot of activity up in Clarksburg. So if you've been on Facebook, you've probably seen that Clarksburg has a rat infestation in the entire community. And there's been a lot of falsehood spread on Facebook, and I just want to address some of that and what we're doing about it. So let me back up just a little bit. Whenever there is a large spread community-wide rodent problem, by statute, the local health department is charged with eradicating those rats. If one person has rats in their house, we don't get involved. But once it becomes a community-wide issue, we are required to do that, which I might add is unfunded, of course. And we have to go in and take care of the rat situation. The problem with rats is they need three things, or they need a couple of things. They have to have food and water, and they have to have a habitat. In order to get rid of rats, there's three things you have to do. You have to get rid of their food and water, you have to get rid of their habitat, and then you can start thinking about eradicating the rats. But until you take care of the other two, the food and water and their habitat, they breed faster than we can kill them. And that is the biggest issue. So we had a meeting up in Clarksburg and kind of outlined our plan on what we were going to do. And then I contacted the Marion County Health Department, who has a complete division that's just rodent eradication.
Really?
That's all they do.
And they wear
yeah.
shirts that say that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
it's
kind of cool.
It is pretty cool. They
Come in force.
They did.
and they know
Great
what they're
people too,
doing. And hats off to them. They were immediately on board. They came down and met with us. They told us basically the biology of rats, the history of rats, and how to get rid of rats. And so we implemented our plan. We started going up there, and we looked for burrows and that kind of thing. We found multiple burrows. We identified multiple locations that had rats and multiple locations that were capable of rats living there. From there, we met with the community of Clarksburg and told them, what we needed to do here. So what we need to do there is get the community cleaned up, and then once the habitats are removed and their food and water sources are removed, we can really start working on the eradication plan. So they came to Clarksburg with us again. They came down again. They brought a carbon monoxide machine that will actually kill the rats in their burrows. Unfortunately, the burrows were too close to the houses, with the risk of carbon monoxide actually entering the homes, and which can be deadly to people too. This can only be used in open air, and even then you have to wear an N95 mask. So they are we weren't able to use that like we really wanted to, but one of the things we were able to identify was that food and water source. One of the things the county did, and hats off to the commissioners, they are completely on board with this. They understand the seriousness of it. Rats spread disease. That's the bottom line here. Rats spread disease. They urinate everywhere they go. They carry 20-some odd different diseases that can be fatal to humans, and they bite. They're nasty little guys. I'm sorry for the people who keep pet rats, but that's a little different situation.
And that's a different kind of rat, too.
Yes,
it is,
yes.
So.
And I want to address that. There were rumors going around that these were rats that somebody bought as pet rats and just released. That is not true. These are Norway rats. They are not pet rats. Pet rats wouldn't be able to adapt to living in the wild like that.
When you're talking about the burrows, are you seeing them just out in the community, or are they coming from homes? Like, are you able to identify, like, I guess, a route home for them, or they're just kind of everywhere?
They seem to be pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
Once they get established, they're very hard to get rid of, and they will spread. If they lose their food source, if somebody gets a dog that they've never had before, if you eliminate that food source, they're going to move on to a place that has it. And so that means no matter where they started, we don't know where they started. They've been there too long. We're getting reports that these have been here for a couple of years now. But there's no way we're ever going to determine where they initially came from.
They've just set up, they've just moved into the community.
Exactly. They just like it there. And there's a lot of reasons for them to like it there. So anybody who feeds their dog outside, feeds their cats outside, puts food out for that feral cat, they are feeding rats. If they are not cleaning up their dog feces, they are feeding rats, because rats can live only on dog feces. They don't need anything else.
I thought.
Yeah, well, they can eat just about anything. They're omnivorous, so plants, animals, anything, including animal waste, obviously. So we have, back to what I was saying there, I forgot. The county has placed community-wide dumpsters up there, roll-off dumpsters. I'm really happy to say we've now filled 4 of those dumpsters.
Whoa.
We have cleaned up a lot of properties. Things look way better up there. It's pretty amazing. The community came together. Individuals have worked really hard to get their properties cleaned up. So we're removing a lot of that habitat. Now we have to get everybody on board to get rid of those food sources, and that's going to be the challenge, of course. So it's going to require, if you're going to feed your dog outside, you need to go pick up that bowl after they're done.
Yeah, you're obviously got to feed them, but you feed them and then take it back
Correct.
in rather than leave it out there. And
have a set feeding because a lot of we live on a farm, so they graze and they have food all day, but it needs to be a feeding time and they eat and the bowl is gone.
Yes, and unfortunately the same with water, which is a little bit harder because you want your dog to always have access to water, but you are giving access to those rats too when you do that. So we are, as soon as the weather breaks, we will start placing some bait stations up there. We have already offered to the community rat snap traps for their own homes, and we'll give instructions on how to use those. And we also have, it's a copper or mesh that you can stuff into a hole. They won't chew through that. And then you can put squirrel screen on the outside of your homes. We have that for distribution to the residents there as well.
Rats are just tough cookies, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
One of the things I also mentioned when this whole thing first started is it's probably going to take a couple of years to actually get to where we have seen eradication. Now, we'll see decreases in rats just from the poisoning. But again, they're going to breed faster than we can kill them.
It's the consistency too, keeping everything clean and
it has to keep going, yeah.
And it just has to be community wide. It's every person there has to be participating in trying to make this happen.
And we get concerned because they do spread diseases, so that's another concern. You have kids out playing and it can be detrimental.
Well, luckily it's not around here anymore. To my knowledge, I'm not sure it's anywhere, but the Black Death, the plague, back in the Middle Ages, it was spread by rats. So
we do not want to see that come back around.
No,
so.
yeah.
No.
If people do have questions about that entire process going on, can they give you a call at the health department?
Of course. Yeah, 812-663-8301. Give us a call if you have any questions.
All right, very good. What else is happening at the health department?
Probably a big thing, and people may have heard this some, is the warming station with the weather turning very cold here recently, and Sean can speak more to that because he's spent some time at the warming shelter, and it's a group effort. The Board of Health, I think the Washington Township and Decatur County EMA, and just a lot of local people, donations, I think, with food has been available for people when either the temperature or with the wind, when that temperature gets less than 10 degrees, the warming shelter is open. So that's been open here over this past few days, and there's plans. It's going to be needed, it looks like weather-wise, coming up for the next weekend. So there is a need for volunteers to be signing up. They're asked to do a 4-hour shift. There is a 2-hour shift at one point from 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. the next morning. And I think it's already, the schedule's open, right, for people to call in and get scheduled?
Yes. So, yeah, we're just 4-hour shifts. So we're not really asking a lot of time, but we do need a lot of volunteers because that does make a lot of shifts. And we really don't want people having to do double shifts and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, last year when we did the warming station, we had lots of people volunteering. This year, so far, we are just not getting the volunteers like we have. We're in pretty good shape on food products that can be reheated. Typically, we do get donations of warm food, which is great. But right now, our main focus is getting volunteers in there.
So if I want to volunteer, tell me what I'm going to do when I get there. What goes into volunteering for the warming shelter?
So it's really, really simple. You sit there.
Okay.
With a partner, you are not there alone. 2 people are paired together to be the, I don't know what's our term, volunteer watchers. Then there's cots, and this is in the big room at the in the back of the Board of Health. I think technically is that the
I think
EMA
we're going to
area?
be using our conference room again
Okay,
this
all
weekend.
right,
We did
so-
this past weekend.
Okay.
So.
And there's cots available. People that come in, and we also want to get that word out that please, this is an area where it's safe to be. Cold and this wind, the wind chill, that really is dangerous when it gets to less than 10-degree combo there. And so we really want to get people to come out, but at the same time we need volunteers to help us be able to man that. And because we do always have 2 people there, it's a room, there's cots, it's hardly luxurious, but it's a warm, safe place for people to come that need a place to sleep. And any ages, male, female, we're all in one room, but there's a bathroom available, there's food available, and we need the volunteers to help man that because so far it's been very needed, unfortunately.
When will it open for this next round of weather? Do you have
Do you have the schedule that I put out there right there? We're looking at Friday. I think at 6 p.m. we'll open on Friday, and it looks like we'll pretty much stay open throughout the entire weekend.
So Friday at 6 p.m. and then it was scheduled through. I was thinking it might go into Monday. I might not have gotten that on the. So it's 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. So through the day it's not available, but there's other spots people can go to. So.
And that being said, it's not officially available. However, the health department is open from 8 to 4, and we're always there if people just need a place to stay warm. So they can come in and just sit. We just won't have quite as formal a warming station, but it is a safe place. And the library is also open through the week during the days, and Saturday also. So they are a warming center. We are both officially warming centers on 211. So if you call 211, you'll get both of those locations.
All right. If you do want to volunteer, how do they go about doing that?
They can call the health department 812-663-8301 or the Washington Township trustee, whose number I don't have memorized.
I had another one, 812-663-5501.
That's the one.
That must be it.
That's it.
And it would be helpful if people would make plans and call ahead of time. They really like to know who's coming so that things can be coordinated, and again, so that people don't have to stay for 8-hour shift if there is no other volunteer. And it's really a good way to help your neighbor. There are people that it's not their fault they're homeless, and this is a way to keep them safe.
Well, just the risk of frostbite.
Yes.
I mean, that's there's many health issues that go along with it, but the risk of frostbite when those temperatures start dropping just shoots through the roof. And
yeah, we actually had an individual come in when we opened the last time, not this past weekend, but prior to that, who had frostbite in both feet. He now is dealing with peripheral neuropathy. That who knows how long that's going to last. So
keep everybody safe and warm and do our best as a community. So
Yeah, sure.
Very good. You just got Walk with the Doc going on?
I am wearing my T-shirt
You
here. We are still doing that. We moved our time to 4 p.m. With the time change. We realized that first weekend it was dark by the time we got back at 6 p.m. So we moved up to 4 p.m. If it is decent enough weather, and we actually have had a few days, we walk outside on the Rebecca Park Trail. And many days here during the winter, it's not decent days, or the wind is just too much. We tried it one day when the wind taught me real quick about that wind chill. Even though it wasn't that cold, it was not a pleasant walk. It was the fastest we'd ever walked, I will have to say. But we go ahead and meet, and the library is nice enough to let us use their conference room, and we do a walking video. There are actually on YouTube Walk with Doc videos, and we walk the video. So you're walking in place, doing different steps to music, and it's quite the workout. I will tell you that I probably work harder doing that than I do if I go out and walk on the trail, because we're probably walking slower and chit-chatting as we walk. So It's still a good exercise, and then we do a chair yoga to finish
Okay.
that up to kind of stretch, again on YouTube. And it's a good way to get together. They get a quick little mini health talk from me or whoever's in replacing me, and then we do the exercise. But it's really been walking has been proven to reduce dementia by almost 40%.
Isn't that
so
crazy?
we all need to be doing it, and this is an easy way to do it. It's been proven that if people have a set time that they know they're going to go do something, they tend to respond to that. I do. If I have a schedule, it's on my schedule. Boop, I need to be at 4 p.m. at the library and do my exercise. So I'd really encourage anybody who's interested in trying to help their brain, help their health, just be healthier in general, to get more active, and this is a way that they can do it. 4 p.m. on Wednesday probably doesn't fit with a lot of people's schedules. I understand that, but for a lot of people it really could, and this is a way to get out there. And if not this, other opportunities in the community. I know there's things at the senior center. I don't really know their schedule. The Y, even if you're not a member, they have a Zumba on Wednesday. I think that's at 5 p.m. and Saturday, that if you pay $3, even if you're not a member, you can do the Zumba.
Oh, very nice.
It's free. Apparently it's free if you're a Y member. So it's another good way. And exercising to music or dance is a particular way to help your brain avoid dementia, just listening to music. So thank you, WTRE, for
Keep it going, yes.
actually just listening to music has been proven to help slow down and prevent dementia. So exercise is the key, really, for all of us. Exercise and good diet, I hate to say.
It is open to adults, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
we've not had any kids come. I suppose they could. I can't think of any reason. It's not that difficult, so they really could. So.
Okay. Wednesdays at 4 o'clock at the library.
Yes.
All right. Any other news coming from the health department?
I think that's our main things right now.
I think so.
Immunizations are always available.
They are. We you call ahead to make an appointment just to make sure our nurses are there. They are extremely busy right now. Got a lot of really good things planned for this year. Not ready to talk about those right now, but it's going to be a big year for the health department. You're going to see a lot of good things coming from us.
I've had questions, and I think schools are still trying to figure out too, and I don't know if you'll have the answer, but with the CDC changing the vaccine schedule, have we seen schools change any requirements at this point, or state level?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet.
More to come.
So right. Well, those are actually right now just the recommended
Engaged.
vaccines. Yeah.
Yes. So, all right. Well, we will look forward to next month and see what updates are coming around then.
All right.
Excellent.
Stay safe and healthy, right?
Thank you so much.
No flu. It's
That's right.
8:56 on Tree Country 1330.